Hi guys, welcome back to the Nelson. It is me, posted by Callum. If you're new here, please subscribe. I am with Mr. Totally Tetty, Mr. Jim Mac 247, and Mr. Robbo Zini. Thanks for joining, boys. And I will start off straight away by saying, Rob, thanks for coming on this one because I think you and James couldn't make the last one. But Rob,
No
I
worries,
will
mate.
ask you. Well, it's done. So, are we getting it done this Saturday?
I I'd like to think so. Yeah, I think like after the Huddersfield game, we've proved that we are a different class to all these other sides in the championship now, and how we play is so unique to the rest. And we have a good attack and play. So I reckon we'll get it wrapped up against Bournemouth. We'll get that promotion. It's all confirmed Saturday. And if not, I think some results might go our way in the weekend, but I think Bournemouth will be the one. Yeah, definitely. It's just there. It's settled.
I like that. I like that a lot. And what did you think about the Derby game? I'll go to you now, Jack. What did you think overall?
Uh, I mean, it's a bit of a scrappy win, to be fair. I mean, the second
Yeah.
half we weren't as good as we have been, and admittedly I was a bit worried we were going to throw it away, a bit like with Preston, but thankfully we didn't, and we got the win. But obviously, let's talk about Kieran Dow's free kick. I mean, that's fantastic. Like,
Fantastic.
I mean, dare I say, better than Vrancic?
I mean, he's
Uh,
been the main man, hasn't he, for set piece
exactly,
for
yeah.
quite a while, and I haven't really thought about anyone else being able to take a free kick. I mean, you'd think the sort of player that Emmy is, you'd think, oh, he's a fantastic free kick taker, but he hasn't
It's one
really
of the
been.
worst ones for us.
Yeah, he's not. That's something he hasn't really got, which is he's got so much else, but not really set pieces. But yeah, if we have Darrell fit and firing next season with set pieces. I mean, he's like what a claim. He could really stake a claim. Um, James, do you have a standout performer from that game?
Uh, Not overly, to be honest. I think I'm just going to state the obvious really here by saying, the fact that it shows how influential that someone like Emi Buendia is, where he came off, where him and someone else came off in what the 60th odd minute or so. When my dad and I were saying, at that point those two players came off ridiculously early, and I didn't watch the game, but as far as I'm concerned, after those two players went off, well, Buendia and whoever the other person went off, the the game kind of to a degree flipped on its head a little bit, and that just shows how influential Emi Buendia in particular is to this
Yeah,
setup.
I mean, interesting. Maybe I'm nitpicking a bit here, but like, yeah. So we took off some key players during that game. So Buendia went off, Darrell, a creative force, went off, a very creative player. I think maybe that was just the fact he hasn't played as much football. And near the end of the game, Pookie and all that came off, and we were looking a little bit like we were almost decreasing our quality quite a lot. So Derby were getting into it. Did that almost look like we were staking a claim that we need to maybe add some quality in the Prem, Jack?
Are you going to me? Are you?
Yeah, sorry,
Um,
coughing a little bit.
yeah. I mean, it's. I guess so. I mean, I wasn't surprised that they took off Wendy. I mean, he was. Again, he's getting another kicking, and I don't blame Fark for taking him off early as a precaution because let's be honest, if we lose Emmy, we're not say buggered, but he complements our side. But obviously, going into next season, I'm hoping that we'll make some good, smart investments which will help improve our team, and you know, because obviously, not saying the squad isn't good enough for the Premier League, but we've got the good players. Like if we can keep Buendia, Cantwell, for example, I'd like to think that we can add to that.
Yeah, and I've also, as I said, I was probably nitpicking a little bit there, but we just need. I was just thinking, as we were taking off those key players, did it show maybe that we could really improve this squad and have some better replacements? All respect to Steepman and Pochetta. Steepman, he's great on his day. Don't necessarily think he's the player he is in the Premier League that he is in the Championship. And as for Pochetta, we haven't really seen him properly get going yet. So it might be maybe a case of he'll be one that adapts better to the Prem. You never know, or it's one that maybe he'll go out on loan and maybe show that he can do it and then come back to us. Uh, I'll go to you next, Rob. What are you expecting? I know that me and you went on David's podcast is Spurs fan. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Me and Rob went on to a Spurs fans podcast, and it was really great fun. We had a chat about everything Norwich next season as well, like what we think. What do you want to see from Norwich next season in the Prem? Do you want to see us have maybe a bit more of a plan B that maybe we didn't have in the past, or is it no, we need to stick to plan A and just be better at it?
I liked how we did have that plan A, and Park was very strong with sticking to one plan and make it a good like show of it for the other teams. But I when we go next time, I want us to invest definitely. I feel like I mean, we were I think we DM'd about it the other day on Twitter, but we were saying there's a few players who start regularly now for Norwich who aren't Premier League quality. They're just Championship quality at the moment. But I think like maybe not, like, obviously not getting rid of them all. We need them for depth and everything. But just adding these few players who just have that quality, have that kind of experience. I mean, I said to you, like not this individual, but like I said to you about on Dave's podcast about Cahill when he went to Crystal Palace on a free. That's a Champions League winner right there, and someone who offers good experience. So and great for the youngsters as well. He'll influence them. So signings like that, and also being smart as Palace to get him on a free as well, would do us the world of good.
Yeah, and Palace have quite a few out of contract. I think they've got about 16 players out of contract or something like that in the summer. So wonder if teams will be taking from there. James, something that me and Jack on the previous episode of the Nelson were talking about was player of the season choices. Obviously, you and Rob went on it, so I'll go to you first. Top 3 players this season. Go.
Well, this is I don't think the number 3 for me is somebody that I don't think everybody would pick. I think the obvious top 3 is going to be Buendia, Pukki, and probably Skip. But for me, I think my third choice is going to be Jakob Sorensen, simply for how well he did filling in that left back position. So I feel as though I think I ought to vote for him just for that specific reason, even though realistically on paper he's probably not going to get anywhere close. So I feel as though he at least deserves somebody to kind of vote for him or whatnot. But the other one, of course, is going to be obviously somebody who is going to probably win it this year is obviously Buendia. He's going to be one of my votes because obviously this year he's I heavily slated him last season for different reasons. I think he stepped his game up this year again, and it probably is the most improved player this year for me personally. So, and then lastly, it has to be Oliver Skip probably. So,
Okay.
So yeah, those are probably my 3 choices.
I like the fact how me, Jack, and Robbie all started simultaneously raising our eyebrows and nodding when he said Sorensen, because that was a real, it was a real different shout, but an interesting one. So yeah,
That's fair enough.
We've all got, I think I'm pretty certain that any Norwich City fan this season will say in that period where we were struggling without a left back, Sorensen really stepped up his game, and
no doubt
he filled it well.
On paper, that I don't want to be harsh, but for me, he did all right in that left back position. But for somebody who's not naturally a left back, and you're doing all right and you're getting the job done,
I mean, for me, really good in that left back position. He was very good, taking the ball into tight areas, didn't feel the pressure, very calm, doesn't make a huge song and dance out of defending. He's very, very, very calm. I mean, I think he's got real potential, very good age as well. So yeah, Sorensen, great shout. Will be interesting to see if he plays a part next season. Maybe not as a left back, but maybe in that midfield position. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if we make upgrades there, what his future is. But really exciting player and exciting young squad player, definitely. Rob, what about your 3 player of the season choices?
I mean, I'll go with the usual trend because I do believe it. I'll go. So I'll go Buendia at the top. I feel like without him this season, we wouldn't have not only got a few goals here and there, but got the goals itself. He's been a proper playmaker all around the field. Pukki then second. He was a bit of a surprise in terms of getting to the past the 20 goal mark again. He's been a bit of a surprise with, but he's completely done it, smashed it. So he done the job there. So I'll put him second, and then third Oliver Skip, just because we've got a 20-year-old lad coming in, gets into the starting 11 straight away, and proves himself pretty much to be in that starting 11 each week. His maturity is something else for a 20-year-old, and you can already tell Spurs fans want him back straight away. I mean, when we're talking to Dave, and Dave was, he can't wait to have Skip back at Tottenham. And yeah, you can tell he'll be a future England player without a doubt, and a captain probably.
Yeah, a huge shout there. Future England captain.
Oh, trust. I'm calling it right now.
That's your title.
I think, yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I think first of all, when I say it's Calvin Phillips from Leeds is a top player, but Calvin Phillips got the England call up whilst in the Championship for Leeds. It makes me wonder why Oliver Skip hasn't really been because he clearly is a Premier League player. I mean, he is someone in that squad who you think, yeah, he's the reason why he's taken us to this Premier League level. I said it last time. Him, Gibson, Buendia. 3 Premier League standard players, no doubt. I mean, the fact we could even sign Gibson for 8 million, I think that's a snip. I think, and he hasn't really. Obviously, it's a shame he's injured now, but he didn't really look shaky at all this season. Considering he basically never played for Burnley, he looked ready, like he hadn't really stopped. So yeah, I think he continued training with Middlesbrough over the summer for a bit. So that was quite nice of them to help us really, like letting him train with them. Obviously, he's got the connections there with Steve Gibson. Jack, what I'll come on to you now is, what was I going to say? Out of contract players, that's it. And you had your transfer marked tab open.
Yes, I do indeed.
Would you like to read through the end of contract Norwich City players through transfer marked?
Yeah, I can do. So obviously this is going to go by transfer marked. So obviously the obvious one is Alex Tettey. Then you've also got Michael McGovern. Obviously, Orjan Nyland was obviously only going to be a temporary contract, but whether we keep him or not, I don't know. Yeah. And then obviously excluding the loanees, the other one, obviously a big one, Mario Vrancic.
Yeah.
So
interesting you say that, and also what I'd like to say is Todd Campbell. I know he's not out of contract this season, but next season,
yeah.
Bit of a cryptic Instagram post today on his story about there's been something unsure, but it might not be in the future.
Not in his Instagram story, to be fair.
Yeah, sort of like things are unclear, but something like that, aren't they? But will be clear later, or something like that.
I think that would look like maybe that could be a contract extension, which would be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nyland, I think will probably get. I'd like to think he can maybe get his contract extended. I think Webber said he was a real fan of him and his professionalism. In fact, he wanted to come and he bought into the project. So yeah, it's good to have a good number 2 keeper. So obviously Krul first choice, but Nyland, yeah. The McGovern one's interesting. I mean, obviously a third choice we need as well. What do you think about that? I'll come to you, Rob. Do you think McGovern has a future at Norwich City?
Sadly not. I don't know. I think he's you can. So what's he right now? Is he 36, 35?
36, yep.
36, yeah. So yeah, I know goalkeepers can go till like their 40s, can't they? Early 40s. But I can't see him being there. No, I'd like him to still have a good career, but maybe kind of stick it to Norwich and help with coaching wise. I don't know, but I can't see him getting into the team next season in the Premier League. It's different cup of tea.
Yeah, and I won't come to Jack for this one because of a certain bias he might have. I'll come to James. I would like your opinion. Alex Tettey at Norwich, does he stay or does he go?
I think he has to go, sadly, just because I think...
Get rid of him. No. Get
no longer on the Nelson. Goodbye. Decision made.
I just think he has to go because I think you can tell, maybe because there's been so many players ahead of him this season where he's at the point where maybe because he's only really coming off the bench. I think he's only coming off the bench really most recently quite regularly because of maybe it's only speculation, but maybe so he can get that Champions or promotion medal. But he's somebody who hasn't really had much of an impact this season on the pitch anyway. But he's definitely someone that I think I would love to see come back as a coach.
That's what I mean. Yeah, if he stays on as a coach, like that would still contribute to testimonial years, wouldn't it? Because he'd still be at the club, and like he's clearly such a leader in the dressing room, and like so you can tell when he comes on, he's mentally such a switched on player, and he knows he's up for the fight always. I mean, if we keep him as the coach, that's great.
He's got a very contagious smile as well.
Yeah, just guy. We love him.
You can tell when
How
he
can you not love
smiles, I can't help myself but smile when I see it as well. So
Yeah, great. We all love Alex Tetty here. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from. In terms of a playing career, I'm not sure where he fits in, especially as we go up the leagues. But keep him around as a coach. I mean, I'd be more than happy. And if he did stay as well, also equally, if he signed a new contract as a backup, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. As I said, great person to have around. So maybe the big one, Jack, I'll ask you about was Vrancic. Do you think he stays at Norwich City?
I honestly have no idea, to be fair. It's an interesting one because obviously he's never really been a regular starter for us. I mean, he's always been a player off the bench, and I didn't really get much of a glimpse of him in the Premier League, to be honest with you. And obviously, I mean, to be fair, I think our main problem last season was Farkas didn't really know his ideal starting lineup in terms of the midfield side, and I don't know. Obviously, he's 31, turning 32 next month. I don't know. I mean, when he signed a contract, the season we went up, he only signed until obviously for a couple of seasons. Personally, I don't see us keeping him, but I'd love to. Obviously, we're going to be a bit sentimental with him because he scored some massive important goals in our first championship title win. I don't know. I mean, I like us obviously just to kind of strengthen the midfield spot, and it sounds a bit harsh, but
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I think
tough.
I think something is like you've got to think about when you're going up the leagues is we might have to say goodbyes to players we maybe don't want to. Like, some of the guys from the 2018-19 crew. Like, I'm just thinking names on the top of my head. Some I don't know if I'm nitpicking, but players like, I don't know, Zimmerman and Hernandez, Stiepermann, all class championship players have been great servants for us. But will they get that game time in the Premier League? And that's maybe what Vrancic, his contracts, he obviously hasn't come to an agreement until this period where he could, I think, sign for a club abroad now. He could agree it in principle, couldn't he? And
So.
he could be a first choice somewhere, and on quite a decent wage. It might be his final big contract, as you said, approaching the later end of his career. I think it's just something that Norwich and Vrancic will be thinking about, and we haven't seen him in the recent games. I don't think he's really come on, has he? It's been more Stiepermann's been the option or to come off the
Yeah,
bench.
now he's been back from injury, and we've been
So yeah,
so used to having McLean and Skip as our holding midfield, and obviously Kieran Dow's now come in form. It's hard for him to get back in.
But yeah, yeah. So as we said, it might be difficult to see some of the players we don't want to see go. It might be difficult to see them go because it's emotional. But we'll always love them, and we'll always have the 18, 19, and this obviously 20 to 21 crew have been so good. I'll ask you for a prediction now for all three of you. How many points will Norwich stay on or finish on this season? Joe, I'll come to you first.
Let me get come to me last. I'm gonna analyze the standings.
Come to you last. Okay, James, come to you first then.
95.
95. Okay.
95.
So are you?
You've got to look at the last 5 games. You think about it: Barnsley, Bournemouth, Watford. I'm sure there's another big team in there. Maybe Reading. I might be wrong, but everybody. I think I'm almost certain that our last 5 games, everybody but QPR are fighting for either playoffs or Watford in particular trying to secure that automatic promotion. So for me, I can see us getting it over the line, but it's going to be an extremely hard challenge for me. And to be completely honest, I would happily take 95 points because, of course, that's more than enough for automatic. So
James, the nervous
and
critic.
besides that, the record amount of points is out of the bag anyway. So who gives a fuck anyway?
Yeah.
PG.
So winning the title, but how much is it going to be on? That's the thing, isn't it? Rob, what are you saying?
Well, you know what, I do see where you're coming from, James, because I'm looking at the fixtures now, and there's some hard games there. Watford, I think, will be hard. I think that'll be a challenge. Reading are in great form, and I tell you what, end of the season as well. We'll have it wrapped up by then, obviously. But Barnsley playing really good football at the moment too. So I think what are we on now? 90 points. I'm gonna go. I think we'll finish on exactly 100 points.
Okay, 100 points.
Me.
Yeah, more optimistic than the nervous critic.
But I do. I think so. So I thought earlier in the season, Watford were probably one of our hardest teams we'll come up against in December, and obviously I know we've got them next Tuesday. So I don't know where that one will go. I can see us winning it, obviously, but you never know what Watford now.
Yeah, no,
To be
arguably
honest,
what's best on paper.
I say we're on 90 points, so I'll take a scrappy 5 draws, to be honest.
Some real nervousness here for. I'm feeling a lot more confident. I think we'll hit the 100-point mark. I'm saying, what am I saying? 101 points.
101, yeah.
I'm very, very optimistic. Jack, what about you?
105.
100.
Only kidding. No, I think we'll hit bang on 100. I think we'll win against Reading. We'll win against Reading and QPR. I'm confident about Bournemouth, and I can see us losing the last game against Barnsley. But I'm hoping we've already got it wrapped up by then, and I can see us drawing against Watford. Watford's the one I'm really nervous about, but if we don't lose to Watford, then I'll be a bit more calmer. So,
okay, yeah, brilliant.
I think QPR might actually prove to be the hardest one, considering how difficult it was at Carrow Road.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was.
We were a different team back then. I'm saying, to be fair. So we're a lot better. Back then we were struggling to get out of first gear, whereas second half of the season we've gone another level.
I'm quite glad that we are so clear, because those last games they're some hard games, aren't they?
We should never take them for granted, but we have been fantastic, and
that's what I mean.
Why not?
Yeah,
I can't really see us having that slip up. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a slip up, but 2018-19, we had those games where we just kept on drawing, and when we could have been getting it over the line. But I feel like the confidence is going to be there. I mean, we're nearly up. We've got to just love life, get the wins. I can't see us.
One more win is all we need.
One win is all it takes.
But we want the title as well.
Oh, obviously, yeah. Yeah, that's why the game against Watford's going to be key. Absolutely. So, comment down below, guys, what you think we will finish on. Obviously, winning the title, but interested to know sort of how dominant we are. You've been watching the Nelson. I've been posted by Callum. Great to have Totally Tetty, Robbie Zini, give you a new channel name there, Robbo Zini, and Jim Mac 247 on as well. Check out those guys, and on the Ball City. See you later.